This is Little Caesar's Pizza. How can I help you?
I just looked at him and opened the door. He grabbed me by my hair and pulled me towards his face, and he said, if you tell anybody who I am or what I did, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill your family.
The sun dipped below the horizon on July 8, 2003, casting long shadows across San Jose, California. In a seemingly ordinary Little Caesar's pizzeria, an extraordinary event was unfolding. It began with an unusual phone call, an agonizing whisper of a little girl who, in a trembling voice, spelled out her address letter by letter. Unbeknownst to the cashier on the other end, this call was a desperate plea for help. This call marked the beginning of a harrowing ordeal that would test the strength and resilience of a 9-year-old Jeannette Tamayo. The clock had struck an unassuming hour when an unsettling figure descended the stairs in a San Jose home. He emerged holding a pizza box and a flyer, a sight that would forever haunt young Jeannette Tamayo. This night would not be like any other. On that ominous evening, an unfathomable terror was about to grip the Tamayo family, as the stranger handed Jeannette a flyer with her own face, labeled missing. With an eerie calm, he declared, "I have to get rid of you tonight." The minutes turned into hours, and the hours turned into days, as Jeannette was thrust into a nightmare of unimaginable proportions. She had been kidnapped, assaulted, and held against her will by a sinister man. The police in the meantime were racing against time to locate her. But in the heart-wrenching absence of any leads in the agony of her family, Jeannette's fate seemed to be hanging by a thread. Amid the torment and despair of captivity, Jeannette found an indomitable will to survive. She realized that her captor's grip over her life was absolute, and the authorities were yet to come to her aid. With remarkable courage, she steeled herself for the unimaginable challenges that lay ahead, whispering to herself, "I'm a fighter, I'm going to make it." In the heart of Silicon Valley, the thriving city of San Jose, California, a seemingly ordinary day quickly morphed into a harrowing experience for young Jeannette. After a usual day at school, she disembarked from the school bus and headed home, blissfully unaware of the shadows that were about to engulf her world. As she approached her home, she noticed something amiss. The screen door was slightly ajar and the sense of foreboding washed over her. She entered her home, her innocence yet to be shattered by the horrors that awaited her within. Inside her once familiar home, the world took a sinister turn. The tranquility was shattered when an unknown figure knocked on the door. Jeannette, bewildered and confused, reluctantly opened the door only to be confronted by the eerie questions of the stranger. As the encounter escalated, an overwhelming sense of unease gripped her. Terrified by the palpable threat, Jeannette slowly began to close the sliding door. However, the stranger was not willing to let her go. He reached inside, forcibly pulling her towards him, and the nightmare began. To spare the readers of the explicit details of Jeannette's traumatic ordeal, we shall refrain from diving into the specifics of her assault. Suffice it to say, what followed was an unspeakable act of violence, one that would leave deep physical and emotional scars on her. Following this horrifying act, Jeannette found herself handcuffed, her legs bound, and at the mercy of her malevolent captor. She was then carried to a vehicle parked in the garage, further sealing her imprisonment. Despite the grim situation, the spirit of the Tamayo family was yet to be extinguished. As the captor struggled to open the garage door, an unexpected twist of fate brought a glimmer of hope. Another vehicle pulled up, blocking the path to freedom. In a heart-pounding moment, Jeannette recognized her mother, Rosalia's car. This ray of hope would mark the turning point in the Tamayo family's harrowing ordeal. A mother's love knows no bounds, and Rosalia Tamayo's was no exception. She had sensed that something was terribly wrong, and in an act of incredible bravery, she had rushed home to protect her children. What followed was a chaotic and harrowing confrontation between Rosalia and the assailant. The scene was a haunting mix of courage and terror, with Rosalia attempting to protect her daughter at any cost. However, the odds were stacked against her, and the attacker viciously overpowered her. In the midst of the frenzied struggle, Jeannette's older brother Paul emerged as a beacon of hope. At just 15 years old, he knew he faced an adversary far stronger and more menacing. Nevertheless, he chose to stand and fight, exhibiting a courage beyond his years. As the attacker turned his attention towards Paul, the young boy fought back with determination. He seized a screwdriver from a nearby counter and charged at the assailant. The clash was intense, but the attacker swiftly disarmed Paul, leaving him battered and helpless. Within the confines of the house, chaos and violence erupted. Paul's efforts to protect his family despite being brutally overpowered were a testament to the unwavering bond of the Tamayo family. Their strength and unity, even in the face of imminent danger, was a shining example of familial love and resilience. Despite suffering a terrible setback, Paul's unwavering spirit led him to make another attempt to protect his mother and sister. In an act of sheer determination, he reached for a frying pan in the kitchen, hoping to fend off the attackers and save his family. But fate had other plans. The attacker once again wrested the improvised weapon from Paul, turning it against Rosalia. In a horrifying act of brutality, he repeatedly struck her with a frying pan, leaving her grievously injured and unconscious on the floor. The room that was once a sanctuary for the Tamayo family was now a battleground, with their assailant holding a position of dominance. Jeannette, still bound and helpless, could do nothing but bear witness to the horrors unfolding before her. As the attacker continued his brutal assault, a chilling silence descended upon the room. The absence of her mother's cries, which had pierced the air moments before, left Jeannette in a state of agonizing uncertainty. In the confines of that room, with the bloodied and battered bodies of her family, Jeannette's world had irrevocably shifted into a nightmarish reality. In the midst of her torment, Jeannette was racked with fear and despair. She struggled to comprehend the sequence of events that had unfolded within her own home. After what felt like an eternity of suffering and chaos, the assailant, seemingly satisfied with the destruction he had caused, abruptly left the room. Jeannette, her heart pounding and tears streaming down her face, found herself grappling with the agonizing question: had he killed her family? The sound of his departure and the sight of blood on his face would forever haunt Jeannette. In her desperate cry for answers, she posed a question that weighed heavy on her young heart. Did you kill them? The response she received was nothing short of chilling. A sadistic laugh that pierced through the already overwhelming terror. Despite the harrowing ordeal, Jeannette's spirit remained unbroken. She knew that her family's courage and sacrifice could not be in vain. Her family had stood against the darkness. She was determined to ensure the struggles were not in vain. With her family in need of help and her own life hanging in the balance, Jeannette was resolute in her determination to survive. The courage that had been her guiding light throughout the ordeal would now drive her to take matters into her own hands. The assailant, undoubtedly sensing the walls closing in around him, embarked on a frantic escape. Driving like a man possessed, he cut through the shadows of the night, with Jeannette still bound in the vehicle. The proximity of a police station, with its flashing lights and potential rescue, sent a shiver of panic down his spine. With each passing moment, the urgency of the situation escalated. The police were closing in, and Jeannette's captor knew he was running out of options. As they approached the police station, a wave of desperation swept over him, and he uttered a chilling warning to Jeannette: "We're going to get caught." As they neared the police station, an unexpected twist of fate unfolded. The wailing sirens of police cars signaled the imminent arrival of law enforcement. It was a turning point in the nightmarish journey that Jeannette had endured. In a last-ditch effort to evade capture, the kidnapper executed a daring maneuver, driving into a residential neighborhood and executing a U-turn in a cul-de-sac. However, he soon realized that there was no escape from the impending justice. Cornered and with no way out, the kidnapper brought the vehicle to a halt and turned off the engine. As he exited the car, his hands raised in surrender, Jeannette watched in disbelief. The nightmare that had gripped her life was finally coming to an end. Law enforcement officers swiftly apprehended the kidnapper, whose identity would later be revealed as David Montiel Cruz. The culmination of the nightmarish ordeal brought with it a mix of relief and apprehension, as Jeannette was finally free from the clutches of her tormentor. Inside the vehicle that had been her prison, police uncovered a disturbing array of evidence. The contents of the car painted a chilling picture of the kidnapper's sinister intentions. Among the items found were ropes and knives, tools that had likely been used to intimidate and control Jeannette during her captivity. The shocking discovery of explicit photos of Jeannette further reinforced the notion that this man had harbored wicked designs for the young girl. The vehicle's interior was a disarray of items, including a generator and discarded food wrappers, revealing his apparent preparation for an extended period on the run. Thanks to Jeannette's bravery and her family's unwavering determination to protect her, Kidnapper's escape had been thwarted. The monster who had inflicted unspeakable horrors on a young girl was now in police custody, and he would soon face the full force of the law. Jeannette was safely reunited with her mother, Rosalia, and her brother, Paul. The family's harrowing ordeal had come to an end, and they could begin the process of healing and recovery. As for David Monteiro Cruz, he would face the consequences of his heinous actions. Jeannette Tamayo's incredible bravery and resilience during her captivity served as a source of inspiration to many. Her unwavering determination and her family's courage had played a pivotal role to their rescue. The strength they had exhibited in the face of unimaginable adversity stood as a testament to the power of familial love and the human spirit's capacity to overcome darkness. As the Tamayo family moved forward with their lives, they did so with the knowledge that justice had been served. David Monteiro Cruz had been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, ensuring that he would never again harm another child. In the years that followed, Jeannette's story would serve as a beacon of hope and a reminder that even in the darkest of moments, the human spirit has the power to endure and triumph. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know what you thought about this video down in the comment section below. If you like this true crime story, why not watch this story next?